Welcome back to another episode of the Hardcore Casual with your boy, Bass the Kid. Now, I wasn't actually planning on doing another one today, but after the events of yesterday and a few other little bits and pieces that I've heard, I thought, you know what, give another one out. You guys deserve it and I want to talk about it, so why not? Bass's picks will also be recorded today, either uploaded very late tonight or first thing in the morning. Gonna do it before the weigh-ins only because I'm traveling tomorrow up to Nottingham. I've also got something to do before I travel, so I won't have time to, watch the weigh-ins and do everything else. So yeah, I've kind of got an idea of who I think is gonna win, how I think they're gonna win, and I'm not too keen on the undercard, so I'm probably won't be devoting too much attention to that. I'll kind of give fair, safe picks where I can. Anyway, it's enough of that. Let's get into what I want to talk about on this one. So Mauricio Suleiman has stated that if Jake Paul beats Tommy Fury on, the 26th of February, that he will get an official ranking from the WBC at cruiserweight. Now, I can only assume that ranking is going to be like 15th because he's still only going to have been, a 7-0 pro if he wins. Look, it's outrageous, it is, but it's also in keeping with Mauricio Suleiman and the WBC. Now, he's put it under the guise of Jake Paul shouldn't be discriminated against, he's a boxer just like everyone else, he should be treated as such, blah blah blah. Now, if that's the case, then shouldn't he have to earn his spot like everyone else probably had to? Or did they just pay an exorbitant amount of sanctioning fees as well to get ranked? Which one is it? Because if we're treating everyone fair, then there's other people in your rankings that deserve that same parity. I mean, let's be real. Where was this so-called fairness when Dillian Whyte was waiting over 2.5 years to get a mandatory called to be the mandatory for Deontay Wilder, who hadn't actually satisfied a mandatory prior to that, and then got gifted a mandatory against Dominic Breazeale, even though Dillian Whyte was the #1 ranked contender and Breazeale was ranked number 6. Where was the fairness there? I mean, where's the fairness in the middleweight division where Jamal Charlo has literally not even fought for the last 16 months, yet his mandatory challenger is not being given the rights to the belt? Charlo's not being stripped or anything of that nature. He's being allowed time to work out his personal issues. Okay. So, and that's just a couple of examples, but if you're talking about fairness, it needs to be fair across the board, or it needs to be corrupt across the board. Like, we can't do the picking and choosing thing here, as far as I'm concerned anyway. That being said, look, giving him a ranking at number 15 or whatever, alright, it's in bad taste, but ultimately not that many people watch the cruiserweight division, so it could just be a ploy to say, alright, well, the cruiserweights don't really get a huge amount of eyes on them, let's put Jake Paul in the rankings and maybe we might get some more interesting matchups. I mean, but the thing is, putting him in the rankings doesn't really do much because he's not going to fight anyone in those rankings. If anything, he'll continue to fight whoever he's fighting until he finally gets a number 4 or 5 shot and then gets a voluntary. It's crazy, to be honest, but I'm not going to devote too much time to it. Like, yeah, it is BS, but ultimately I would expect nothing less from Weeby Crooks. So the premiere of Creed 3, I believe it was last night, which is Wednesday. What day is that? The 14th. So yeah, it would have been on the 15th, sorry. Now, interestingly enough, there was a disturbance, shall we call it, between Richard Riakporhe and Lawrence Okolie at the premiere, which got into some form of a scuffle, which ended up being broken up, or at least partly interjected by Spencer Fearon. It's funny, when you kind of want him to turn up places, he's not there, but he's everywhere else. I'm messing. Anyway, look, here's my thing, right? The energy, I love the energy from the perspective of you don't like each other, and it kind of goes back a little bit to the old school of you can't be in my space, in my presence, if you've got something that I want, or me and you are due to fight, and yeah, like we can't be around each other and something don't happen. That being said, some places you gotta leave that shit at home, or you handle it outside afterwards. Like, you can't go to a premiere like showing out like that, because now what does that, and the way you've done it as well, it's not like, this wasn't like it was at the Brits where you could say, oh, it's a, you know, it's a, this is a premiere to a predominantly black cast film about fighters, and then you got two fighters that can't behave themselves before the film even starts. The narratives are just there, all for the world to see. Now look, we've seen a lot worse. You've seen man leg drop other guys off of cars in the past, but that's never been at a sanctioned, a premiere or like a fully established location, especially in the heart of the city. So ultimately, while I love the energy of you don't like each other and it needs to get settled, there's a time and a place, and that weren't the time or the place. Unless they was just trying to react something from the film they seen previously, like, oh, we're going to do a reenactment for TikTok. That's kind of the only reason I can see that potentially being in their mindset. But even that's just, again, stupid, ignorant. I would like to know who started it though, because I can only imagine, right? And this is me gonna be a bit biased, right? I'm slightly gonna back my South brethren here. I've seen enough of Richard Riakporhe in person and on TV, the way he conducts himself in interviews and stuff, and just in lead-ups to previous fights. He's not really the kind of person that starts the beef. He might end it, but he don't really start it. But Lawrence Okolie's got a little bit of a spicy, yeah, he's a bit spicy certain times. He knows how to probe, and he knows how to poke and just get under your skin, because he kind of done the same thing with Isaac Chamberlain, because Isaac Chamberlain was kind of calm and humble, and Lawrence just kind of knows how to irritate you. Don't know what it is about him, but he doesn't seem to get on too well with people. So I've got to imagine, not seeing the whole thing, so of course I could be totally wrong, and if so, I humbly apologize, but I've just got a feeling that Lawrence was the initiator. He was the antagonist of that situation. That's kind of how I feel based on previous evidence, but again, I could be wrong. That being said, it creates a good story for when they when they do eventually square off. I wonder if there was an official camera person around, or someone not just filming on their phone, because then that's going to end up on Sky in parts of the narrative of the story. Couldn't keep their hands off each other. All roads have led to this. They've wanted to see each other in the ring for the last 3.5 years, and all of that. I'm sure all of that will play into it. I'm pretty sure all of that will play into it. But yeah, I mean, again, the energy was the correct energy for an enemy of yours, but certain times you just have to hold it down. And also, let's not, maybe, look, alright, this is a bit conspiracy theorist, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Let's not rule out the potential that whoever initiated it did so just because they knew it couldn't go further. Like, sometimes, when you might start something in a place where it can't get too crazy, like, man ain't, man's not gonna end up getting a bat swung at his head at that moment. You're not gonna get stabbed. You're not gonna get shot. You can't even really get rushed in a situation like that, just because of where you are and the amount of security that will be there. So it's almost a bit of, I'ma stick it on him now to hype things up, because I know it can't go left in the long term. Now, I'm not saying that's the case, but I've seen it happen, and I'm sure a lot of you know situations where that's happened as well. That being said, yeah, long story short, not cool, but I ain't mad at it on the whole. So Ben Shalom came out yesterday basically saying that Kell Brook wants one more fight. Now, I think we kind of knew this anyway, but I've got to admit, to me, this is me personally, I'm starting to not really take to Ben too tough. I don't think he's a bad guy, but I think he's actually a bit slimy. I don't feel like he's the worst, but he came in on this whole humble tip, and just little by little, you just see that it's almost like there's a mask there. You see that mask slipping day in, day out. Now, to me, why would you want to promote or expunge that this guy is wanting one last fight after what has happened and what he's kind of currently going through, the issues he's having, especially currently with substance abuse and whatnot? Yes, we know he's missing the ring. He said that. But why are you coming out now trying to lay down the seeds of narrative that, well, he just wants one more fight and we're going to be the ones to give it to him? Because essentially that's what you're saying. Because you wouldn't say that if he wants one more fight and it happens to be on BT Sports with Queensbury, or Matchroom and DAZN, or even going to PBC with Showtime or ESPN with Top Rank. No, it's because you want him to come back to the platform on Sky. Maybe because the pay-per-views or stuff that you've got at the moment aren't necessarily delivering the numbers that you were hoping for, or you need major attractions. But the guy's going through a crisis right now, and that's the information you choose to deliver to people. I mean, hell, if he wanted one more match, he should have went to the Creed. He should have went to the Creed premiere. I'm sure he could have got a little scrap in there. He wouldn't have been the only one. But either way, look, I just think it's in poor taste that he's going through what he's going through, needing the help that he needs, and that's what Ben Shalom is deciding to focus on. He wants one more fight. Well, we don't need to know that right now. What we need to know is that he's clean, off cocaine, off other substances. He's in a healthy state and his mind is right. That's what we want to know. We don't care about if he wants another match or not, because guess what? Even if he wants one, he can't have one right now. He definitely wouldn't pass a drugs test. Or you're going to say, oh, well, there won't be any testing for this, or we won't be testing for cocaine. Well, unfortunately, you don't have a choice. Like, if you're testing, it comes up in the test of all of them, not just RADA. So you stating that means absolutely nothing. And again, like I said, I feel it's in poor taste. I don't dislike Ben, but he's not my favorite. I will be totally honest with that. Like, Eddie Hearn's a shit talker. Like, he chats a lot of shit, but he also tells you a lot as well. But at least with Eddie, like, he dresses it up. He might give you a little bit of that secret sprinkle that maybe just makes you miss the BS the first time you hear it. With Ben, everything he says, it just doesn't sound genuine. We already saw the stuff with Billy Joe Saunders. Yeah, okay, whether or not he should have released those, whatever. But all of a sudden, Sky have screwed you. Okay, why have they screwed you? What, not giving you dates? Signing all these people. Michael Hunter can't get out for an entire year, waiting on Hughie Fury, and now you got nothing else for him. After robbing the guy a year of his career. Other people not getting the dates that they were promised. You on camera, don't ask me about this, that, and that. That's a Frank Warren move. You're supposed to be the new school guy. Now it's either you're in front of the camera and there's nothing that's off limit. Everything is copable, or you stay off camera like you said you was gonna do at the start, when you said the fighters need to be front and center of the promotion, not the promoter. That's what you said, but yet every interview's with you these days. So yeah, the switch up, it's been noticed, and I'm sure I ain't the only one that's noticed it. But with regards to Kel, I don't want to see him in the ring at any point in the near future. I want to just make sure that he's cool, healthy. If he wants to get in the ring towards the back end of the year, once he's sorted himself out, cool. Anything before July, not interested, don't want it, because I just don't think he's in the right space. Maybe get him in the gym, just working, ticking over with others for the time being, and then you maybe sort something out towards the back end of the year if he just wants that one and done. But yeah, Ben, we didn't need to hear that from you. It's in poor taste, and do better. Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there because I've still got some work to do, even though I've done the majority of it for today already. I will get the other video up later on, or like I said, first thing tomorrow. Either way, it will be recorded today. So yeah, I'll be in the same get up, but obviously I've told you that why. But thank you for watching, and as always, Hardcore Casual out.